Welcome to a new episode of TTG Conversation's 5 Questions video series. I'm Karen Yu, Group Editor of TTG Asia Media. In this episode, we will look at mega air hubs of the world and their significance to travel and tourism in Asia. Taking us through this topic is Mayur Patel, Head of Asia at OAG Aviation. Hello again, Mac. Good to have you.
Karen, good to see you, and thank you for having me on this conversation.
I've got 5 questions for you, and here's the first. For 10 years now, OAG has been publishing the Mega Hubs report, which ranks the connectivity of the world's leading international airport hubs, both globally and regionally. For the 2024 edition, we see 11 airports in Asia within the top 25 rankings. Is this significant, and why?
Yes, Karen, so the inclusion of 11 Asian airports in the top 25 rankings of OAG's 2024 Mega Hubs report is highly significant as it underscores Asia's growing prominence as a global aviation powerhouse. So this achievement reflects several key trends and dynamics in this region. So the first one is Asia as a center of global connectivity. So Asia's increasing representation in the Mega Hubs ranking highlights the region's pivotal role in connecting passengers globally. Major hubs like Singapore Changi, Seoul Incheon, Tokyo Narita, and Hong Kong International Airport serve as a crucial transit points linking continents such as Asia, Europe, Oceania, and North America. This demonstrates the strategic importance of Asian hubs in facilitating global travel flows, particularly for long-haul and regional connections. And in addition to that, cargo, as you can see, the world's largest cargo hub is Hong Kong, and that shows you the global trends in connecting trade between countries, whether it's intra-regional or long-haul markets across East and West. Second point is resilience and recovery post-pandemic. The strong performance of Asian airports reflects their rapid recovery post-COVID-19, driven by the resumption of international travel and the reopening of borders, particularly in markets like China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. These airports have not only rebounded, but also invested in enhancing their connectivity and competitiveness, further solidifying their rankings in the OAG Mega Hub. The third is rising middle-class demand and regional travel boom. So we've seen some of the rankings have influenced by the surge in demand for air travel amongst Asia's growing middle class, particularly for leisure and business travel. Intra-Asia travel remains one of the world's fastest growing aviation markets, with low-cost carriers and regional carriers driving significant growth. So airports like Jakarta and Bangkok benefit increasingly from this regional demand as a result of LCCs scaling their growth in these leisure markets. Fourth is strategic investments in infrastructure. So we've seen airports dominating in mega hub rankings is a direct result of continued investments in airport infrastructure and technology. So airports such as Singapore Changi, Seoul Incheon, and Hong Kong have maintained their leadership by introducing state-of-the-art facilities, efficient operations, and enhanced passenger experiences, ensuring they remain competitive amongst the rising competition from Middle Eastern and European hubs. And the last one is the shift in aviation flows towards Asia. So the inclusion of 11 airports signifies a broader shift in global aviation traffic flows, with Asia emerging as a center for gravity for global aviation as trade and economic growth continues to be a pivotal hub towards Asia's recovery as demand increases, reinforcing that the importance of these hubs within the global aviation ecosystem.
That's wonderful. Let's bring attention to Kuala Lumpur International Airport, which ranks second for global connectivity, and budget carrier AirAsia being the dominant carrier in that airport. Has this low-cost connectivity played a big part in inbound tourism recovery for Malaysia as well as Asia, where AirAsia operates extensively?
Yes, Kuala Lumpur International Airport ranks second globally for connectivity, with AirAsia as its dominant carrier, which has seen significant driver of inbound tourism recovery from Malaysia and Asia as overall, due to its connectivity in its network. Hence, this low-cost connectivity has made a crucial impact on many fronts. So the first one is its catalyst for regional tourism recovery. So AirAsia has a very extensive network which connects over 150 destinations across Asia and beyond. And recently they introduced network increases into India, China, and Nairobi in Africa. So that creates a lot of different traffic flows opportunities, different city pair connectivity, and its dominance in low-cost leadership that it has provided in this part of the world. And we've got different destinations from regional markets like Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines and China, where actually they've been able to connect Kuala Lumpur with other key markets. And that's in partial by offering low fares and high frequency of flights that have encouraged more leisure travelers to return to Malaysia. Second point is affordability boost for inbound travel. So AirAsia's low-cost model signifies reduced financial barrier for travel, attracting price-sensitive leisure and family travelers. This has not only stimulated inbound tourism to Malaysia, but also supported travel within regional Asia as a whole, connecting secondary cities and unserved markets. So if you were to compare the last 22 years, Karen, we have seen significant shift around development of unserved markets in Asia Pacific, and that's partially due to low-cost carriers like AirAsia being able to afford much lower airfares to the traveling public. And their motto of "now everyone can fly" represents the affordability that they have been able to boost inbound travel. And the other component is strategic role in Malaysia's aviation hub status. So Kuala Lumpur not only services full service carriers, but the way AirAsia has developed its hub and spoke model over the years, connecting key markets in ASEAN, as well as international markets like India, China, Australia, Africa, and their vision to move further abroad into Middle East, as well as Europe moving forward. And we've seen a very robust regional recovery across Asia post-pandemic. So there's been a pent-up demand in terms of travelers' affordability, as well as the disposable income they've been able to spend in exploring, whether it's visiting friends and relatives for leisure purpose, or even business travelers are actually shifting some of their travel onto the low-cost base. Yeah. And the fifth component is alignment with Malaysia government's tourism goal. So Visit Malaysia 2026 campaign. So there's a lot of strategic moves that AirAsia has been pivotal part of Malaysia's tourism recovery strategy, and that allows them to offer promotions and collaboration with tourism boards to attract more visitors into the region as well as Malaysia as a whole.
Yeah, sounds all very promising for Malaysia. Are there other shifts in the rankings that really surprised you?
So 2024 Mega Hub rankings revealed several interesting shifts. So Kuala Lumpur at second place. So we spoke earlier about the reasons for that and the dominance of low-cost carriers such as AirAsia, which highlights how low-cost models with high frequency and extensive regional networks can create significant global connectivity, challenging the traditional hub and spoke dominance of full-service carrier. So again, going back to that vision that Tony Fernandez had back 22 years ago, where he actually said, now everyone can fly, that has really put Kuala Lumpur on the spot. And with the extensive coverage in the network over the years, they've actually helped Kuala Lumpur Airport to actually gain that second position. And I think they'll thrive as we move forward because of their network presence and the new city pairs that they've been able to actually connect with. Second factor, the shifts was strong presence of Asian airports in the top 25. So we spoke about 11 Asian airports within the global top 25 underscores the region's rapid recovery and the strong aviation infrastructure that the region has. So again, while major hubs like Singapore Changi and Seoul Incheon were expected to perform well, the higher rankings of airports like Jakarta, Bangkok, demonstrate the resilience of Southeast Asia's aviation sector in connecting regional and international traffic. And the other bit that we'll probably see is Hong Kong, which was much later in its recovery due to the government policies on the reopening, we will see a lot of the capacity rebuilding until Q1 of 2025. And Cathay Pacific is expected to reach 100% of their 2019 level by March 2025. So again, being a dominant carrier at that airport, we expect to see Hong Kong moving up the ranks in 2025 Mega Hub report. The third part is the rising role of secondary hubs. So secondary hubs in Asia, such as Manila Airport and Ho Chi Minh City Airport, have climbed up the rankings. So this shift reflects the growing importance of regional connectivity and influence of low-cost carriers like Cebu Pacific and Vietjet that has grown substantially in their markets and driving passenger flows through these airports. So the rising prominence was unexpected, but highlights the decentralization of global air travel patterns. And the fourth component is the North American decline in connectivity ranking. So if you were to look at the 29 ranking and 2024, we've seen several traditional strong North American hubs have relatively declined in connectivity. And this shift is surprising and could be attributed to the slower recovery in certain regions and stricter operational constraints of these airports compared to their Asian counterparts, which have rebounded more rapidly. So again, it's a factor of where the markets have grown, their resilience, as well as the middle-class population that I spoke much earlier about. And Asia Pacific tends to have a large middle-class population that's coming up, and the propensity for them to travel is much higher than maybe other parts of the world. So we have seen a lot of decline in North America as a result of that. And the last bit is something that's of interest to a lot of people in the industry, is the strength of Chinese airports despite its challenges. So again, despite the ongoing geopolitical and operational challenges, airports in China, such as Shanghai, Pudong, and Beijing Capital, and Guangzhou, they've performed robustly in the rankings. This resilience reflects China's efforts to ramp up connectivity as travel restrictions eased and its growing focus on international travel hubs. And I think if you look at recently, the Chinese carriers have opened up anywhere between 18 to 22 new routes between China and Europe to show that Chinese outbound can improve over a period of time. And so the Chinese carriers are putting some of that domestic fleet deployment that they did during COVID period back into new destinations. So we've seen new city pairs such as Shanghai to Venice start. And also the Chinese carriers are looking at transit between Europe and Australia through their main hubs in China of Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Beijing. So it's not just about the inbound, outbound flow, but it's also about the transit flow that they're looking at as we move forward.
I see that the Mega Hubs ranking is generated by comparing the number of scheduled connections on international flights with the number of destinations served from the airport. I gather that this to mean that the power of Mega Hubs lies in the ability to connect passengers onwards. However, destinations also need passengers to disembark, leave the airport, and spend some money and days with local merchants. So does having a Mega Hub status mean stronger tourism performance for the country?
Yeah, correct. So while Mega Hub status lays a strong foundation for international tourism, its impact depends on destinations' ability to convert connectivity into visits. Airports and tourism authorities must work together, leveraging stopover program, destination marketing, and partnership with airlines to maximize the tourism potential that Mega Hub connectivity provides. So we look at a few factors here, Karen. So first is enhanced accessibility and connectivity. So Mega Hubs excel at connecting travelers globally through efficient onward connections. So this ease of access can indirectly boost tourism by making a destination more reachable for travelers, especially those from smaller cities who rely on connecting flights. Airports like Singapore Changi and Kuala Lumpur Airport, which provides as a gateway, attracts tourists simply because they are easy to access from multiple points worldwide. Second point is stopover programs and tourism incentives. So some mega hubs actively capitalize on their status by promoting stopover programs, and we've seen some successful implementation of that by Singapore Changi Airport and Dubai Airport with some of the airline partners, where they successfully encourage transit passengers to spend a few days exploring their cities. So Emirates recently provided 2-night stopover hotel complimentary if you were a business class or premium economy traveler for 2-night stay in Dubai en route to their final destination, Europe. And Singapore Changi also has a very successful stopover program for transit passengers where they provide free city tours. So again, this strategy leverages connectivity to drive tourism whilst enhancing passenger experiences through the airport as transit point. The third point is the role of low-cost carriers. So we spoke about mega hubs like Kuala Lumpur Airport. They benefit from dominant low-cost carriers such as AirAsia. These airlines not only facilitate transit traffic, but they stimulate point-to-point demand, making it easier for travelers to disembark and explore the destination. This dual role of connecting and bringing in tourists contributes to tourism performance. Fourth bit is challenges in conversion from transit to tourism. So however, not all mega hub passengers translates into tourism. Airports with high proportion of transit traffic may see fewer passengers disembarking to explore the local destination. And we've seen some of that post-COVID. And if you look at Singapore as an example, we've had a very strong outbound out of Singapore and a very strong transit flows, but inbound was a bit of a stagnant, and that's potentially due to high accommodation cost in Singapore. That's probably encouraged people just to transit a facility like Singapore itself. It's got a great facility for passengers to explore. You've got Jewel, that people come out from their transit time to explore some of the facilities or to take some Instagram photos of the waterfall that they have in Jewel, and then they continue on to their final destination. So there are some challenges in converting some of this transit to tourism, just purely because of post-COVID. Outbound tends to be more stronger than inbound in certain markets, and Japan has the same flow-on effects. If you look at inbound being much stronger than outbound, and transit traffic tends to be more distributed from Chinese travelers connecting into North America, because there's lack of direct flights between China and North America as a result of the geopolitics. And the fifth bit is supporting infrastructure matters. So the ability to turn a mega hub into a tourism driver also depends on destination's infrastructure, such as attractions, accommodation options, and seamless ground transport. So mega hub in regions with well-developed tourism ecosystems, such as Singapore or Bangkok, are more likely to see stronger tourism performance moving forward.
Totally makes sense now, Matt. Okay, lastly, which airports do you expect to shake up 2025 rankings and why?
So again, the 2025 Mega Hub rankings will be shaped by a combination of infrastructure investments, strategic airline moves, economic recovery, and evolving travel trends. So airports that prioritize connectivity, adopt to changing passenger needs, and addressing external challenges proactively will dominate the rankings. So I think we'll continue to see Asia Pacific airports dominate the ranking in 2025. But there's three other factors, such as recovery of long-haul and international travel, expansion of low-cost carriers network, and airline fleet expansion and aircraft deliveries. So again, there's all these different factors will need to be taken into account when we look at the index itself and how that will evolve in terms of the connectivity and the expansion that key airlines and airports will make, and the incentives that they provide for the airline connectivity flows as a result of that. But we've also got some bottlenecks. So airlines are willing to expand into new destinations, but with a lot of the shortage in skills, labor shortages, as well as some of the aircraft delivery, with manufacturers, suppliers not being able to deliver on time, that's putting a bit of a roadblock for some of the expansion that was planned for. And that could provide some hindrance in terms of how connectivity will shape up and some of the city pairs coming online, or the expansion of frequencies on the existing city pairs and the traffic flows. So 2025 will be very interesting to see, Karen. And I think there's a lot of factors that we'll need to monitor and reflect upon as we move forward.
Wonderful. And that's all the questions I have for you, Meg. Thank you for joining me on this episode too.
Correct. Thank you, Karen, again for having OAG present.
Past and future episodes of TTG Conversations 5 Questions can be found on the TTG YouTube channel. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.